Hamlet and some inspirational types of looks and some other opportunities. This, I just said that. That's just basically it. But so for one of the most important things we think we can do is really start to add all of the different community events onto our website. So this would be a go-to place for people to see what is going on in Tuxedo. Currently, we basically depend on people to tell us as opposed to being proactive about getting people to add their things to our website. We also think we should we do have a community email list, but we can certainly enhance that. And we can enhance it to a very high level. We can segment the list to be businesses. We can also segment it into neighborhoods so that if we wanted to talk to specific neighborhoods about specific issues, we would be able to do that. And it would be easily done as an outsourcing. And by the way, before everybody starts going, who's going to do all this? I do have an answer for that. So, but there are companies that do manage email lists and who are able to execute email and e-blast and e-marketing programs. And it's very affordable. Another part of it would be to add articles and press releases to our community, because last year I actually wrote 2 or 3 of them, and they were in many newspapers, but clearly I can't be the only person writing press releases. So we need to investigate how we can get more press releases and information about Tuxedo. And the nice part about that is when people are coming to visit Tuxedo and they look us up on a website, those articles actually do come up. So you'll be able to see things about plein air, you see things about the butterfly meadow, etc. So that would be also a part of the program. And then also part of the comprehensive plan is that we need to encourage more cultural events. So we have some things to talk about with that. One of the things that this started was that during the presentation last year, we identified the fact that we have a significant amount of visitors to Tuxedo. So we know that going to the Renaissance Festival every year, there's 160,000 people who go to that in a very short period of time. The Sterling Forest Visitor Centers has over 50,000 people who actually register. That's not necessarily people who visit, so it's probably 3 times as much. And we don't really have a number for Harriman State Park, the Appalachian Trail, or the Jehovah's Witnesses who come here. But what's significant is that when they come here, there really is very little places for them to eat, sleep, or shop. So that would be hopefully one of the objectives of us working on a good marketing program. So with that said, I'm going to introduce you to Brenda Zuck. She's going to take us through a short presentation of ideas. Brenda is a Tuxedo resident. She's been here for 11 years. She comes from a very experienced background in marketing and advertising. Saatchi & Saatchi, Colgate-Palmolive, she was a brand manager, and now is currently working at an international ad agency, Reckitt. So with that said, I'm going to pass the baton to Brenda. There you go.
Hey guys. Hi, thanks. Nice to meet you all. I love Tuxedo. I love giving whatever I can give to help, promote and get whatever needs to be done in terms of reaching out to customers, consumers, client base, visitors, whatever you guys need. I'm more than happy to donate my time and my energy. One of the things that I thought was sorely needed was, how do we get this word out? How do we make this? I also did real estate as well.
Oh, yeah, no, you got the right one. Sorry.
All right, so I also did real estate as well, and I did follow a lot of. I am a fast follower of a lot of people that have been successful at this in terms of selling the region, selling people into the region, giving back to the area. So, we looked at, as a team here, Deirdre and I, billboard, interactive maps, website, train station, farmers market, how do we pull this out? What can we do? Where are we going to pull out the most, the most beneficial, impact for the people and the tourism that's coming through? We did look at a DigiScan. We can also do a hashtag discover Tuxedo Park. So those are almost like, low hanging fruit that you could do right away. These are images that came from the board.
Yeah.
These are you from you guys. I mean, I could also enhance them in Photoshop. I'm just giving an example of the possibilities as we flow through it. You could do a billboard that covers every season, or you could do a seasonal billboard. It all depends on your budget, right? So if you cover all 4 seasons, that's exciting. Bring back memories once you've come here. And then we are a gateway to the Hudson Valley, and I also have communications with the Hudson Valley News. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of connections as well. And you can get photographers that will donate. They just need a little credit. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities for getting really fantastic imagery. There's a lot of possibilities for, doing absolutely free, internet hashtags and ways to get to, you could get into a DigiScan and you can find out all the places to go. Again, you
Go
couldn't.
back and explain that.
Okay, how do I go back?
Let me just, I'm gonna go back
She's making me.
because,
So one of the things with this is you could do a hashtag,
or it's code
or
on a billboard, say, for example. I mean,
you
on a
could do it.
sign.
And then all of a sudden, it takes you to all the sites. It takes you to the maps that, what's her name has already done?
Sue, sure, yeah.
Sue has done this already. She's already got all this in a system. It's just a matter of connecting the dots in IT. And we are a gateway to the Hudson Valley. So, just owning that and really starting to promote that is an important thing because, sure, people can go all the way up to Bucks County. They can go, they can go to the Catskills. They can go
Right.
other places. However, there's a lot here right now that they can get started with. And there's a lot to offer, even if it's not specifically Tuxedo, it is a gateway.
Right. But, so the interactive map,
So the interactive map that Sue has been working on, and I can't actually show
we
you,
can't, yeah,
but Sue could show you,
Well.
in another meeting.
yeah,
Literally you click on these and she's done all the work that it takes you. So it doesn't, it takes you right to the trails
and explains it.
and explains everything. It gives you the maps, the trails, and all of the local sites. So that's exciting because you can have that at the kiosk at the Tuxedo train station. You could have that on the DigiScan.
On
So
the website.
or website. So however we get you to that, it's fairly free. And I don't even know what it costs. We haven't explored that, but
Right.
we know we have people that have done half the work already. And we also know that it's low hanging fruit, if you will. Right. So DigiScan could take you right to, the farmer's market. It could take you right to local dining. And however we worked this out, I mean, it could take you every place. Am I going backwards?
No, you're good.
And again, a lot of this is just free because you can post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, post it on YouTube. And I don't have the example of Whole Foods right now.
That's okay.
But yeah, so a lot of this stuff is really low hanging fruit is what we're trying to get at.
Right.
That you have a lot of people that are excited to help out. A lot of people that would be willing to work on this. One of the things that came to mind was a photo library. Again, we have a lot of beautiful images from the board themselves. How do you put together a photo library? Well, you just can start doing it and collect it. We have it already. Build a catalog for Orange County Tourism. What happens there is, just someone like myself can just take the images. I can enhance them. I can put them in Photoshop, make them really, really pretty. I've had a lot of experience with, taking shots of, Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty, just to give it just a little nuance, and then make it just a beautiful place to go. And then, back it up with some of these events that Deirdre's been working towards.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to take it over from here. The interactive map really is the core of the program that we're talking about. Sue has worked diligently on that, and we basically have all of the components available. We just need to find a digital designer who can actually put the whole thing together so that it becomes an exciting tool for our town. But moving on, we're starting to actively work with the Chamber of Commerce, who really needs to, looking towards resurrecting their programs. And this year they have co-sponsored our plein air event, but we are going to be working with them because we would like to talk to them about doing more research with our businesses in town, talking to them and finding out what their needs are and what we can do to enhance the commerce portion of the town. So I'll just give you a little inspirational slide here. We took this picture to the left. This is downtown. This is Store Road in the back. But my view of that is that you could really, without a lot of effort, start to make it, giving it a more of an old world kind of a look, where you actually made the street, you basically switched the entrance to the back of the town so that people could come in from Hospital Road and be able to use this as a more of a commerce type of a look, which basically takes it off of 17 and gives you the ability to make it more of a shopping type of pedestrian friendly town.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. You could think about, you want to stroll, you want to look in the shops. You
Right.
know, Warwick has done a great job of that. We can do it too. If they
Yeah.
can do it, we can do it for sure.
So these are shots that I have from a town I used to go to all the time in Germany. But it basically shows you how, narrow streets with pedestrians and just really nice lighting, it could be an exciting solution for downtown. So it needs a lot of work, but it's just a starting place. Moving to the next.
Just to add to that, it's soliciting and curating your developers and your the
Business.
folks, their businesses that are that can and will and would want to. So we just have to create the vision. I can help curate, you make that look good, make that look like something we can sell and solicit. But honestly, you have to solicit these business developers.
Yeah, well, we definitely need to do something, but moving on. So we've also been in touch with the Orange County Arts Council. This is a nonprofit group. This is a group that is completely connected to all of the different art parts of Orange County. They have relationships with music. They have relationships with drama, fine art, and they basically like to connect communities to the arts. So they, and dance, excuse me, there was another one, dance. So they would like to work with us with Tuxedo. And what they do is they come in and they would execute, completely take over and do the administration on any of the arts that we would want. They can give us 3 programs a year, and we would designate if we want it to be art, we want it to be music, we want it to be drama. And they would basically take over the administration of these programs, so that it would take away from the for the people that we have right now. So basically, just to recap, for a residence program, we're recommending that we do an e-marketing, e-communication program, and that would involve doing quarterly, probably in the beginning, biannual updates that we can send to people who have signed up for our e-marketing program. We want to do a community calendar, which would involve a lot of the different communities and partnerships that we have with a historical society, with Silver Dollars, you name it. I can't believe how many committees there are that we just don't even know about. And the recreation, and I'm recommending that we put together a recreational advisory committee, basically an outreach similar to POUR, so that we can involve the various people in the community in what we're actually doing. They seem to be very enthusiastic.
And one thing that I'd like to add to this, the whole thing, and again, I'm willing to donate my time and my energies. One thing that's very important is branding Tuxedo. We have to brand it. We could own it. We can own black and white. We can own the bow tie. I know that the bow tie's been used before, but just branding it and getting it in people's minds as a visual brand language is very important.
Right.
And so it does repetitiveness does lodge in the minds of consumers
Yep.
and tourism. Really important. Saying the same things a few times. It's a campaign, basically.
Right.
We're suggesting.
Yes. And on the business side, which is also speaking to the visitors that come to Tuxedo, is we do believe the interactive map is a wonderful tool, and our businesses can use that to market their own programs. An effort we need to revitalize the downtown. We will do that with our partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce for roundtable discussions. And on this, I'm recommending we go back and reinstate our Economic Development Committee so we can get more input from our community. So that is the program. If there's interest, what I can do is each section can write up. I do have a formal proposal from the community, the Arts Community Council on the events, which I will send to all the members. It's 3 events, and what they would do for us and the cost. And I'm getting quotes on all the other aspects of this. The goal here is to put a program together and basically outsource the execution of the program. The most expensive part is the creative and creating a program, and the execution is pretty simple once it's in place. So I think I did 15 minutes, guys. So we're done.
Thank you, Deirdre and Brenda.
Very welcome. Very welcome. It's food for thought for the most part. I think there's a lot of low-hanging fruit for you guys. And there's, my time and talent is free. Don't really want to do anything except promote and make property values go up and make this a great place. It's a great place that I really hope to see develop in the right way.
Very exciting presentation, but I appreciate it. I don't know if you're looking for feedback from board members at this point, or just want us to digest it and get back to you. What do you think, Deirdre?
Yeah, I think just digest it. And again, remember that you got to build a visual brand language about the place. What can you own, and how do you keep resonating that in the visitors that come through here a lot? They come here often. They come here many times. They like it. But to Deirdre's point, there's no place to sleep. There's a few places to eat. There's, we have to start building that in and actually really soliciting and curating the right developers.
So I guess I'll put my questions and comments in an email to Deirdre, and she could share them with you, Brenda. And I'll share them with the town board as well. You've shared a lot of great ideas, and I'm anxious to try to help see how we can get some of this going.
I mean, I can think of a lot of next steps, and kind of goes to our question of things that we want to put on the discussion agenda. But the Store Road as an alternate or new Main Street, we've talked about this before. I think there's just a couple of simple next steps to get that going, like a survey of the road itself, what's town road, and where can we mark out where the road is actually, and the billboard. That would really be good to get going, because I was at Corey Field and tried to fix that bottom corner that's torn and frayed, and that's not looking so impressive right now. So if we could maybe pick a couple of next steps, and then the Orange County Arts Council program, that would be some simple things to move forward with.
Awesome. And I do love that idea of the main street behind, where you can just have a pedestrian walkway, little shops. So I think that's a terrific idea of Deirdre's. And if there's anything you guys need help with, I'm here. She has my number, and thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Brenda. And thank you, Deirdre. So I guess the as we've just articulated, the very next step is to put your responses, town board members, to in writing to Deirdre and Brenda, and we could pull them all together, see which seem most executable in a sequence.
Well, in the meantime, I'll segment out all the different components and send them around to people so that we you know, the billboard, that sort of needs to sort of happen. So I will send the creative around and everybody can agree and then we can execute it. I mean, it's basically to have to get a quote again. Last year, it was $800 for the printing and the highway department put it up. So that's pretty straightforward. I don't think the printing has probably gone up much since then, but I'll ask. And then I can also send around the proposal for the Orange County Arts Council. They're proposing 3 events for $20,000. They wanted to do the first event being like a holiday, either play or concert. And that would be for starting this year into next year, 3 different events. The interactive map, we're getting quotes from various people on how to make that a usable and fun tool for people to use. And from there, we can actually be able to develop other marketing programs. So I think those are the 3 most important things to get started with, which I can get that out to you guys tomorrow.
Fantabulous.
I mean, we can
Deirdre,
also move forward with the business roundtable, right? We've discussed this a couple times already, just to get feedback on how
Yeah,
they
that's
feel.
not a cost issue, so I didn't bring it up. So that's why.
Right, right, yeah, but that's something we've talked about, so maybe we can get going on that.
Mhm.
I was just thinking, and this is Maria Deidre. I was thinking that the whole putting like QR codes. I mean, the people that come from the city for, to hike and things like that are just, they're used to QR codes. In New York City right now, all levels of restaurants from, fancy to less fancy, all have like menus and things like that on QR codes. And people have their phones with them all the time. So something like trail maps and all of this information, having it available at the train station with a QR code, or even you can do a QR code from far away, or even on the website. I just tried your QR code. Of course, it wasn't to any place. It was just to like a.
it takes you right to the QR code.
Yeah.
It was like it looked like some sort of sales, but you actually can use it right from the website. You put your phone there, and there, it takes you to where, it says that it goes. So, yeah. So I really think that is, actually something that we should do sooner rather than later. I think. I always thought that. I also always thought that the Powerhouse Park would make such a great stage for like dancing or something. It's just perfect for that, like Shakespeare outside, Shakespeare in the Park, or something like that.
Yep, that is one of the weaknesses we stated in the Tuxedo Forward program was that one of the things that Tuxedo has is underutilized real estate in their parks. So this would address that because we would certainly want to have use Powerhouse Park as one of our venues to have a nice event.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to transition to a serious topic that our attorney Howard Prater is going to update us on. As has been mentioned in a previous meeting, the town, specifically our attorney Howard Prater, Jacobowitz and Gubitz, has been communicating with the New York State Comptroller's Office about our town village consolidation. And Howard's going to apprise us as to what's been happening. Howard?
Sure. As I informed the board last time, we've been having a series of conversations with the controller's office regarding the consolidation. And the controller would like us to find ourselves in the position where the consolidated entity doesn't exist any longer. And we talked about a certain approach to accomplish that. As I've thought about it further, I need to have another conversation with the controller. And the reason for that is this. We don't need a consolidated entity to exist going forward. All we do need or would like to have is the village powers that to keep out pipelines. And if we could keep that village power, but let the consolidated entity go, I think we accomplish what the voters would have liked to have accomplished in the first place. So as you know, I drafted a resolution for your consideration the other day. But as I've been reading over the resolution, it occurs to me that I should try one more angle with the controller. And so I'd like to hold off on any final action tonight so that I could have that additional conversation.
Basically, what do they? What is their contention as to
Well,
this action?
Their contention is that a consolidated entity doesn't exist under the rest of New York state law, and therefore it shouldn't exist under the New York Government Reorganization and Citizen Empowerment Act. When that act was adopted, it was to allow citizens to create variations on local government. And it talks about a consolidation process. The controller says, well, that really doesn't mean that you have a consolidated entity at the end of it. For example, their view is if when we formed the village of Tuxedo, and then the voters voted to consolidate that village into the town of Tuxedo, their view is that the village disappeared at that point. If we want the village to continue, then the village needs to have its own board and file the reports with the controller's office that villages file.
But which
But we
of,
don't want we don't want the village to continue because the voters wanted it to wanted the government in the town to operate as a town, not as a village.
but as I recall, when we did the consolidation, we said the boundaries. Well, the boundaries aren't. Let's put the village of Tuxedo Park to the side for discussion because it makes it too complicated. But the village of Tuxedo, which is the town less the Tuxedo Park, as I recall, the town board was also at the same time the village board. So when you were electing a town board member, you were electing a town board member and a village trustee. And the supervisor was holding an equivalent position to mayor, but ignoring the possible additional mayoral powers. And I recall that's how we spelled it out. So do we solve this simply by one meeting a month or whatever the minimum number is. We close the town board meeting and open the village board meeting. Hold a village board meeting that has no actions except to open it and close it, and then submit whatever the reports are that we need to submit, which sounds like they'll mostly be zeros.
I don't know that it'd be quite that simple. Because
Okay.
what you're suggesting is that the village of Tuxedo function as a village. And so a village would need to have elections. It needs to have a budget. It needs to file all of its reports with the controller's office. So I'm not
Right.
sure it's as simple as that. But yes, that is one alternative, which is that the village of Tuxedo exists as a village. But what I'm suggesting to you, I don't think we need that, because the only thing we wanted out of having the village was to be able to keep the pipelines out. So all we need is that one village power, and then the village can disappear. The village consolidated into the town. If we take the controller's point of view that once it was consolidated, the village disappeared, that's okay. Pursuant to the plan, one of the powers that the consolidation plan wanted the town to have was to exclude pipelines.
But wouldn't we need some kind of special legislation to give us that? Because like that power is assigned to cities and villages, but not to towns.
Well, if we say that we're giving up altogether on the consolidation idea, then yes, we would need special legislation. But what I'm suggesting is I would like to go back to the controller's office with the argument that we don't need special legislation because, and we can agree that the village of Tuxedo disappeared, but pursuant to the plan, before it disappeared, it gave the town one of its village powers, which was to exclude pipelines.
Right. Okay. But there are other things that make a village special. And Sue brought this up in the chat, right? One of the things is that a village is the smallest unit of municipal government, and you can't subdivide it. Right? You can't, as they say, you can't make a village inside a village.
Correct.
And that was one of the reasons that people, whether that is a useful idea or not, that came up. So are there, I mean, what other village powers can we delegate to the town as part of this process? If there are any that we want. Or more importantly, why would the comptroller say that we could delegate those powers?
Because the consolidation plan provided for them.
Okay.
So if the village was going out of business, so to speak, it was in accordance with the consolidation plan, which said we're going out of business, but we're giving these powers to the new entity, to the town of Tuxedo as we leave it, as we consolidate into it, rather.
If you can sell it, it sounds perfect.
Well, I think I'm going to try.
I think it's
That's-
it's worth trying because, you know, if we could get those powers, that was the original purpose of the going down this road.
Yes. All right. I will have a conversation with them. I'll try to have it this week,
Excellent.
and I will advise.
Did they, in any way, give a timeline as to when we might have to take some kind of action? Was there any ultimatum or anything of that nature?
Not in those terms, no. But it's something that's on their radar, and they want it resolved. So
Right.
It's not like it
As
has
long
to-
as we're engaging in conversation, I guess there's
Yes.
no
Right,
timetable.
exactly.
we
We've
should
been proceeding in good faith.
Yeah, I mean, it seems also we have to publicize this a little bit more broadly down the road when we have more answers from the comptroller, since this was a voter initiated action.
Well, we certainly have to explain it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the position of the controller is, in the last conversation, was that unfortunately, the result the populace wanted is the one that they could have. That's not a very satisfactory explanation, but that's the controller's position. But let me get them off see, right now they're riding the horse of the consolidated entity. And they're hung up on that. But we don't need to have a consolidated entity. All we need are the consolidated powers.
Right.
And that's the emphasis that I'm going to address.
Okay. So it's another
Yeah.
to be continued.
Yes.
So Howard will report an update on our next meeting, and we'll take it from there. Okay. Try to keep this moving forward. I think as we've heard that phrase, the lowest hanging fruit. I know we have a few things that we want to discuss and get a dialogue going, but I'm just going to ask your indulgence that we knock out all the typical business stuff as quick as possible. And so I see next on my list of, why don't we do things like the minutes, the vouchers, and get those out of the way, and then we could go circle back to these updates. Does that work for you guys?
Sure.
So,
Sure, yeah, fine.
so in the package we have the minutes. Let me find the wording for that in here. I'll make a motion, ask for a second, to accept the minutes of the regular bi-monthly town board meeting that was held on April 25th, 2022. I'm going to ask Maria, will you second that?
I will
think she
second that.
just did. Okay. So, does anybody have any additions, edits? I saw some back and forth. I don't.
I didn't.
Yeah, I sent mine to Marissa.
Okay. So then, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Deirdre,
Okay. All agree. The vouchers. I'll make a motion. Ask for a second. That the following vouchers, having been audited by the town board, are hereby approved for payment. Claims number 201-291-9973 through 201-291. Excuse me. I'll repeat that. 201-292-0044. Do I have a second?
Second.
Jay. Oh, Michelle. There we go. Michelle seconded. Any questions or discussion? I saw a few questions in emails. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. So the bills for the Tuxedo Farms review, those get sent directly to Related, correct? My question was, do we pay them and then get reimbursed from Related?
I think we're still. I'll be speaking with Brian and Carrie about this tomorrow. I know they did list these invoices separately. I think our agreement with Related was that we would send them for review to them, but I don't think there's going to be much of a review for the invoices that we have so far. And so, since this is the first time we're doing this, Michelle, I'll send them to Greg Goucher just asking for a response as to, okay, these are good to go. That's my understanding of it. Howard, is that
Yeah,
accurate?
the way it usually works is you would send it to the property owner, in this case related. They would review them, advise if they have any objections. If they do, then those objections would be worked out. If not, then you would pay it, and related would reimburse you from the escrow.
So
So we
I'll
have to
just,
go through that process of paying it and then getting the money back. We can't just send them the bills and they pay it directly.
No,
well, we have the
they
money
don't
in
pay
an
it.
escrow account. We have the
Yeah, they
money.
don't pay it directly.
They
But
just authorize us to take it from the escrow.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Right. Okay. So it comes directly from the escrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Well, actually, no, actually, it
Ep-
doesn't. You don't write checks from the escrow. You transfer money from
Right. Okay.
the
Yeah.
escrow
Okay.
into the town's account, and
Okay.
from that you pay your bills.
Right. Okay.
I'll take the silence as we're ready to vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, the vouchers have been approved. Okay, let's quickly do the town board reports. I promise I could read mine in 2 minutes. And Mary, I did send this to you and to Marissa. Tuxedo Town Supervisors Update, Monday, May 9th. On Tuesday, April 26th, Police Chief Tamara Dreyer resigned, effective May 28th, 2022. She advised that she has accepted a full-time position with another police department. The recruitment process for a replacement is expected to begin again soon. Mortgage tax. The Orange County Clerk's office notified Tuxedo that the April mortgage tax receipts were $39,103. Tuxedo's reported receipts for 2022 so far total $133,385.50. Keep selling those houses. Friday, April 29th, 2022. The American Rescue Plan Act ARPA report that documents how the town is using the $304,614 federal award was filed on time. Maria May, Michelle Lindsay, and I filed the report electronically. Projects reported on were the completed water treatment system that has been installed at the Highway Department. That was $32,000. And that removes iron and manganese from the water, making it both potable and usable for maintaining equipment without the damaging effects of these minerals, of these and other minerals. We also reported on the purchase of the Zoom room equipment for Town Hall. That total installation package will be $52,127, which, when installed, will allow the town to hold meetings that are virtually fully interactive two-way communication with the public remotely. Supply chain issues continue to delay the installation, but the vendor expects delivery next week. Monday, May 9th, 2022, as was discussed, train station renovation project. The bid opening happened today, and as we were discussing, only one contractor submitted a bid, Veritas Construction Services, for the $207,000. And last, Tuxedo Farms Special Town Board workshops have been scheduled for Thursday, May 19th and Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. These will be from 5 to 8 o'clock, and these workshops will be held through the town's WebEx portal. So again, Thursday, May 19th and Thursday, June 2nd, we'll have special town board meetings that focus exclusively on the Tuxedo Farms pending application. That's it for me. I'll turn it over to Michelle Lindsay.
Okay, so you mentioned the capital plan, and I've been working with the building department, and we're looking for options for converting all our microfiche files to digital files. And other than that, there's just the vehicle for Dave as far as the capital expense that we need going forward in the next couple of years. So the building department's pretty well done. I believe the highway department's pretty well done too. So we'll just need to look at town hall building requirements like, new HVAC system, things like that. And then the police, that will be something perhaps the chief can work with us on to get started before she moves on to her next job. Dave Makish is attending, well, he did attend today, a webinar held by Orange County that focuses on battery storage for first responders. And so he'll be updating us on that. And then tomorrow, he's going to be attending a webinar on the solar permitting process. And I spoke with Deborah. What we're doing now is people just fill out the current building permit, and we need to look at that and finesse it a little bit more. So we'll be asking Dave for his input as we go forward to review the solar permitting process. And on Wednesday, I'm meeting with Orange and Rockland to finalize the LED streetlight conversion program. That's been held up because of COVID. And we're getting there, but we're almost done. The work started on the town hall roof, and the color, I believe, is agreeable to everyone, correct?
What's the color you were deciding on?
Well, the sample that they brought, I believe it's, I've totally forgotten now. I think patina green.
No, I think it's
That was the other one.
the other
Oh, it's
one.
the other one. It's the aged copper.
No, the
That's
other
the
one.
pretty- It's the other
The
one.
other one.
But I went in
The
and
other-
I looked at it and I told Marissa which one I liked, which was the ones you guys liked too. So
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
we
So
all
we're
agreed
all,
on the same color, on the right color, on the same thing.
yeah, let's make sure we all have the right name. And so if you could, maybe Marissa can tell me exactly which color that is that you guys all liked. Okay. I think that's it.
Great. I'll switch to Jay because he usually goes last, and we'll change the order a little.
Okay, fine. I have a couple of items, but I have two questions. First, I was trying to say it, but I was on mute. I don't care what color the roof is, as long as it's in stock.
The color's in stock.
Oh, I care what the roof looks like. Sorry, it's
Mr.
30 years.
No, I think he's semi-joking, but
But,
the
yeah.
in-stock part is important.
It's in
And
stock.
Mr.
It is in
DeMayo, the president of Precision, was in
Okay.
town hall today, and
Okay, he's
it's
got
the
it.
color I think that you're talking about, Michelle, and it is in stock.
Good.
And so it's all good.
That's right. I'm an engineer. I don't do color. All right. So that
You
was.
have to live with it for a long time, so
30
we want
years.
it to be right.
Yeah, it should be the
We
right
can
color.
always paint it again. And then I have a question for
I
Ken,
hope
which
it's
is, can we get, never mind. All right, so I have two items, light items, and then there's a discussion item. I don't know if we're gonna have that one yet. We're gonna wait till the end. So my two, health and two things. First of all, as everybody knows, Memorial Day is back. And we're having the picnic and the parade and the raffle. Go buy your raffle tickets. They're really good prizes this year. And I looked when I put my tickets in the barrel, and as of now, I've got an even chance of winning all of them. So you guys better hurry up and get some tickets in. Tickets are on sale at the library. The weather's getting nicer. We already talked about some of the dangers of nicer weather, bears and bees and whatnot. And the other one is cars and people walking on the road. So it's the law, but also people don't seem to know if there isn't a sidewalk to walk on the road facing traffic. So that means the left side of the road is the right side to walk on. So that you can see the cars coming because they ain't watching for you. And I'll put a pin in it since we're saving discussion items till the end.
I have yours in the queue.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go Deirdre and Maria.
So, the two little projects, my special projects that I'm working on, I'm still waiting for feedback from the the county highway department on the speed limit. They did get the paperwork and they got it also from Warwick. So, I think they ordered a traffic study, but I will follow up with them this week. And then I've reached out to, Joshua Laird about Eagle Lake. They have stopped, dredging. So I think, and the lake has filled up again, but we definitely need solutions. And I've been talking to Rob Dolbaum about what those solutions are, because part of it is on the part of the town. It's a drainage system that goes under our road, a town road. So we're going to get some answers for that. And as soon as I do, I will let you know. So those are the two projects I'm working on.
Great. Thank you. Maria?
Hi. So I actually just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to thank Andrew Arias and Taylor Comforti, who actually helped us just finish up the ARPA report with Michelle and Ken and I. And the other thing is that I wanted to remind everyone that on May 17th, our school board and budget votes, they're both districts, Tuxedo and Monroe Woodbury, are happening on the same day. So please come out and vote.
Great reminder. Thank you. Okay, let me see where we're at now. So we did monthly report. So department updates. Let's go with Marissa.
Good evening, everyone. The color that everyone that saw the samples that agreed upon was hemlock green.
Hemlock green.
Hemlock.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a
No
lovely
problem.
hue. It's a lovely
Yes.
hue.
And they showed a piece of copper, existing copper that was on the roof, and we held it next to it, and I think it'll look nice.
Does.
So what do I have? So I've been working with Interstate Waste Services, who services the town residents for garbage and recycling pickup. We had a lot of the small toters, they call them toters, not cans, go missing. So a lot of them were in the Woodlands development. So it turns out that the mechanical arms that pick up the toters don't accommodate for the smaller ones, and they were falling into the truck. And the driver, since mostly they don't get out anymore, wasn't realizing they would leave, and the residents were calling every Monday and Thursday. Got a lot of calls. So trying to work with them to come up with a solution. A lot of the residents that had the smaller sizes are limited on space in their garages, etc., and they try to be compliant and put the toters away as they're supposed to. So we're trying to figure out a way to work with that. We were alerted that the glass recycling dumpsters were full. So nice to know that residents are utilizing them. I think the bigger issue was Interstate Waste was not picking them up. So we're trying to confirm what the schedule will be going forward. They should be serviced every other week. But if anyone does notice that they are full, please reach out to us and we will make sure that they're emptied as soon as possible. Reminder for everyone to sign up for the Youth Fishing Derby on Saturday, May 21st from 9 to 12. The ages to compete anyway, and the Derby is 15 and younger. We have a lot of nice prizes. The Watchtower group last year put out fruit, snacks, grilled hot dogs in the afternoon for lunch. So it's a nice day. The bid opening for the Community Choice Aggregation Administrator is Monday, June 6th at 1 p.m. Any bids that I receive, I will circulate to the town board. And I think all of you saw the letter that I sent out from the Renaissance Fair. It's their letter of intention to open this year, and their opening date is Saturday, August 27th, and they will run through Sunday, October 9th. And I just want to say thank you to the highway department they planted flowers in the pots in the front of town hall, and they planted some shrubs around the town hall, and it looks very nice. And since Rob isn't here, he wanted me to give the update that mulch and compost is available for residents at Quarry Field. And that's all I have for tonight.
That's great. Thank you so much. I think that's it for the reports. Why don't I quickly go to the public comments? So if you have a public comment, yeah, if you want to put it in the chat, or Michelle will certainly just try to manage. We don't have that many people, so you could just unmute yourself if you have a comment.
We addressed the comments that are there now
Okay.
about the village consolidation.
Okay. So I know
Sue Chair just says if anyone wants an explanation of the interactive maps, that she'd be happy to explain that. You know, the interactive maps that were in Deirdre's presentation.
Yep. I know Jay's waiting for, he brought a discussion topic to the table, and I think it's time that we let you start that, Jay.
Okay. So some of you have probably heard this before, but for the benefit of everyone following along at home, we'll start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. The town board is currently elected on an at-large basis. That is to say, anybody who wants to run for an open town board seat puts in a petition with the Board of Elections with the proper number of signatures, either with one of the major parties or with an independent party of their own choosing or making. And then there are 2 seats up in each election, and the 2 people who get the most votes get the seats. Howard, jump in if I say something wrong. That's fine, except for a couple of things. The first thing is that any well-organized group of people could basically acquire complete control of the town board in 2 elections. And I'm not worried about any particular named group, but this sort of, I was thinking about the fact that when Tuxedo Farms is up and running in full, it will have half the population of the town. Which is the nature of things, but in at-large elections, all of the members of the town board could be Tuxedo Farms residents, which in and of itself isn't, you know, I'm sure everyone who's going to move there are going to be perfectly nice people, but they'll be interested in Tuxedo Farms, obviously. We, as a board, when we're trying to assign positions for, say, the planning board or any other appointed boards, and I know that the Tuxedo Democratic Committee, when trying to field candidates, tries very hard to spread representation out amongst the town. I can't speak for any other party. I don't know how they do it. And I think that's important and useful. I mean, one of the things that became very apparent to me once Deirdre got on the board, when we had somebody who was a Woodlands person. I mean, she's obviously looking out for the whole town, but she has a better handle on the issues in her neighborhood. right? So the speed limit on Route 17, the speed limit on Long Meadow
Long
Road
Meadow Road. Mhm.
and the issues that are going on with Eagle Lake, it's not that the rest of the town board doesn't care but wasn't on our radar as much. So how do we solve this ongoing question? And the answer that I see is to set up an election by ward system. So we cut the town up into a series of wards, areas, and then town board members are elected by the population of that ward from somebody who lives in the ward. So Southfields, if Southfields is a ward, elect someone who lives in Southfields. Okay, so I started to look at that, and I've circulated this map, but I'm going to share it so that people can see what I'm talking about. Wait, I got to push one more button. Are you seeing this fabulous piece of artwork that I did the other day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's my understanding that town boards can either be four members or 6 members. I may be incorrect in that, but that's my recollection. I started with 4 and I couldn't make it work well, so I went to 6. And basically what this does is it cuts up the town into wards, into areas that more or less cluster neighborhoods. And this is my initial sketch. This is just, I had to put something down so people could tell me why it was wrong. But the 6 wards would be the village of Tuxedo Park, Tuxedo Farms, the downtown Tuxedo, right? So the hamlet, the East Village, the apartments down Route 17. And then Woodlands and Eagle Valley as a cluster, and Southfields and incorporating Arden as a cluster, and then sort of, the wild west of Tuxedo, Laurel Ridge and Clinton Woods and the houses over by the Ren Fair in that area. And what this now does is it means that no one part of town can take complete control. It makes the town board awarded more like the Senate than like the House of Representatives. So, Michelle, pointed out this afternoon in an email, what about 4 wards? We could do 4 wards, but it stops getting the full representation of the town, I think, as well. But we could certainly, it's less complicated. Anyway, I'll shut up in 1 second, but I'd like to hear what people think. And if this is something that sounds like a good idea to pursue, what I'd like to do is ask Howard to start letting us know what it would take to do it and how dumb an idea it is and all those other things. And I'll be quiet now.
Well, I come from Ramapo, where we tried to put this program into place, and it failed because it was voted down. But I was very involved in it in Ramapo, and I really do support a ward system. I think that way each district is allowed to explore the opportunities and also the problems of each separate part of the town. So I think it's a good idea. And I like these 6 districts. I mean, the 5th, it would be 5 until Tuxedo Farms actually happened. But to your point, it's Tuxedo Farms will be 50% and the majority of the voters, if they vote, in the town. And so it could very easily leave out different sections, AKA Southfields, which has a lower population, which, and dominate the things for Tuxedo Farm. So I think award system is positive for the community. That's my opinion.
I agree that award system is good. I know there's a lot of support and people would like to work on it that, live in different areas of the town. It's been talked about. I thought I had read somewhere that it needs to be somewhat balanced by population. And so I think there's some basic guidelines that I'm sure are available from the state as to how this could work. But I'm not even sure if it would be fair to have half of the population of the town be in just one district. I mean, I'm sorry, one ward, when Tuxedo Farms is fully built out. To have half the population only have one representative. That, I don't know, just doesn't seem fair to me. But I mean, of course, I like the idea, and we've talked about it for quite a while, so it's time to move forward and see what we can do.
If I may, that was one of my points that I wrote down here. How do you get that balance with the population for the exact point that Michelle just made? One of my questions also, knowing how challenging it is to get people to step up to want to do these fabulous jobs, is what if a ward can't identify a candidate? Can they still pick somebody and vote for them whether they live in their ward or not? Not necessarily asking for an answer to these questions right now, because I think we're just exploring it, but that would be one of my questions. Maybe Howard knows, but I could see that happening.
Write-in candidate.
Writing candidate, but it could be somebody who does not live in the district or the ward.
No, well, typically not, but we'd have to iron that out. I'd need to do a little more research on that stuff.
Because to your suggestion of writing in somebody's name, well, that's kind of like, okay, you're the guy, and then the guy meaning male or female. I'm trying to, the generic sense of guy. No, I'm not. Because there's a lot of people I'd like to wrangle, but anyway, that's a question to be explored.
I basically I mean, I basically agree with the idea of wards. I think that obviously we're in the beginning stages. Originally, I thought it would be 4, but the thought of 6 makes sense. In terms of representation for Tuxedo Farms, it's going to be a while for that ward to be fully. I mean, it might be even like 10 years down the road.
Yeah, it would be 10 years, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I think they would be more or less equal than, it's funny because you look at 3, which is Southfield, we have like all of this land, but not that many people that live here. So, which is actually one of the issues in New York State that we're having right now in this whole, it's like you count space as people, you count people as people. So anyway, so my thought is, yes, I think we should explore it further.
I guess one of the questions, now that you've raised it, is you can in say 5 or 7 years, as Tuxedo Farms gets built out, you can do redistricting based on population. That would be a question, right? You're not casting it forever.
As much as I would like to put my permanent stamp on the town of Tuxedo, I think that any decision we make can, of course, be amended and
Yeah.
adjusted by future boards if it needs to be so.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so we would need to have clearly defined how that would happen, what would trigger rewriting the boundaries, and it could be,
I mean, yes, that would make sense. you know, or we could just punt on it, and when people don't like it anymore, they can change it. But
Well, that's where I would not be comfortable just punting it down the road to the whims of another board. I just think that
well,
it would
yeah,
be
no,
more,
I'm sorry.
if we're looking to put a stamp on it, let's have it be well defined how ward boundaries would change.
That's fine. Yes, I should have been holding up the joke flag. So,
Hard to tell sometimes with you, Jay.
I know it's this brilliant smile.
Deadpan delivery.
So,
I know.
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, this would not affect how the supervisor would be elected. The supervisor position would still be a townwide at-large election. I mean, necessarily, but there you go.
Howard, do you have any words of wisdom to add to this conversation?
No, not at this point. With the board's permission, I'll spend some time to dig into it and come up with some maybe answers to some of your questions or some other questions, and get back to you. I'll try to do something for the next meeting.
I mean, like, how do you even file this kind of stuff? Is it through the Board of Elections? Is it through the county? Is it through a state legislature? I mean, those are some questions, maybe not for an answer now, but I mean, even
Well,
figuring out
I'll
how the
lay,
process.
yep,
Okay.
I'll lay all that out for you.
Okay. Jay, do you think
Yep.
we explored the topic enough for this evening that would set the ball at least in a discussional motion?
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds to me like everyone thinks that this is a reasonable idea and worth further exploration, and that's all I wanted.
Oh,
If
that's
everybody said, "Jay, you're crazy," I would just shut up and go home. And I think the next step is that we need some advice from Howard and his minions on how this arrangement would really start to look, as opposed to, my guess on what it is. And then we can, discuss procedure as it moves forward, and boundaries and all those things. The number of wards.
And how they're drawn.
Right.
and maybe some examples of towns that have successfully implemented this and how's
sure.
it going?
Mhm.
Preferably a town more on the size of Tuxedo, but I don't know if that really makes all that much difference.
Mhm.
Great. And anyone also
Thank you.
can continue their research and share any links to stuff that you find, and we'll pick this up as a continuing topic over the next few meetings until we think we have enough material to start moving on it. So do we need to, I don't think we need to do any kind of action. Howard heard our request and he's going to look into it for us. So thank you, Howard. Okay. Were there any other topics that we wanted to explore, or can we go
Well,
to
I
the?
was kind of saying that, there are a lot of things that we've keep talking about bringing up before the board, and we just have been so busy with Tuxedo Farms and other things that, if there's some way we could, not tonight, but work towards a list of what all the different board members would like the board to discuss, and how we could go about getting those things organized on a priority list, and who's going to be responsible for what. It just would be nice to kind of, at this juncture, to get that going.
Well, we did start out the year, I believe, asking, and I still have this on my desk in the office, what people were interested in, what kind of they gravitate towards. And that could be revived, because ultimately you want to come up with a list where somebody's going to take action on it. So I think it's a combination of what you're saying, Michelle. Just there's priorities that just need to happen, and those certainly could be outlined. And of course, because we don't have a real deep bench on the town government, that's why I kind of was pushing for, well, if there's something that a board member gravitates towards, that's a way to make sure somebody attends to it. But certainly that's so you're proposing,
maybe
Michelle,
I
maybe
mean,
for the next meeting that people identify their top 2 or 3 and also maybe what they might be willing to work on.
Yeah, I guess board members should propose only things they're willing to take responsibility for. But you need kind of board buy-in. You don't want to just go off and do something just because you think it's a good idea. I'm saying that, not you.
no,
I
I'm not
understand.
taking this. I'm not taking this personally. So, but I mean, it sounds. I mean, so you're looking for a list of, and I don't know how to say this that doesn't make it sound. And just say it, like everyone's issues list. So these are the like I would send you a thing that said looking at award system and looking at, I don't know what the other things are, so I won't list them.
All right, how about if I throw out an example just so you see where I'm going with this myself is,
Okay.
I worked for so long on an economic development committee. We had 6 subcommittees and we had great involvement with the public and businesses. And it just kind of hit a roadblock because this was several years ago that there wasn't board buy-in to it. So, and how to organize it. So, kind of like you brought this up tonight, we're all on board with it. So now I'd like to, maybe there's some things we'd all like to revitalize and see if there's board buy-in so we can move forward.
Okay. So then we need a list of, I mean, obviously we can't do it all in one session. So if we had a list, if people send in their top 3 items or whatever, if they have 3 or any number, and then we could, the meeting of next week, we're going to talk about, I don't know, whatever the item is, and the first meeting in June will be this, and we can set up a discussion schedule. Is that what?
Yeah, something like that. That would be great.
Okay, so we should all send our list to you, and you'll put the list together, and then we'll see what our favorite movie is to look at first, and we'll go from there, or how should we do
Okay.
this?
Is this
And I'm not
town,
trying to
I'm
assign you
sorry,
work, you brought
is
it
this,
up.
is this townwide or is this particular to Tuxedo Farms? I'm sorry, I just took antihistamine, so my, my.
No, I'm just
If
thinking
that's what
if
the kids are
there's,
calling it these days.
if there's just anything that you think would help the town move forward.
Well, like
That,
I was thinking in senior services, the
there you
whole,
go, perfect.
that whole, just not just the silver dollars, but also our cooperative partnership with Orange County. So, yeah,
Right.
okay.
That's another type of thing. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
what I'm thinking of, Maria. Thank
I
you.
mean, I think Tuxedo Farms kind of has pride of place right now and gets to preempt everything else until it gets ticking along. But yeah, everybody's stuff.
Yeah, Deidre's made a presentation tonight on something she feels strongly about. And so
Right.
and Jay made his presentation tonight on something he feels strongly about. So it's just a question of keeping that momentum going. So you always have new ideas percolating for, you to be considering.
And key to those comments was there was a point person leading the charge.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'd be careful about putting your name on too long of a list, but go have it. So I got a few I could lend you. If you're looking for suggestions, I have a list.
Well, we also have, one of the other things really that we need to think about is we still have funds to spend for ARPA. And now that we know the process for reporting and things like that, I think we need to think about what are some priorities that both meet the requirements of the law and also that we need. So I think we need to talk about that too, because I think that there is a deadline and I think that there's more money coming. I mean, I think we received half of that 306,000, but I think we're getting another 163 or whatever to complete that. So I think that we need to think about, you know, we talked about, all the work that we need to do on the sewers, on this, sewer system and stuff like that. So I think that we need to talk about that also and make sure that we are, using the money for things that we actually need to address. So ARPA is another thing that we need to put in.
Getting the Zoom room up and running and somebody figuring all that out. There's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get me started. I'll come up with a list. You might, you guys will be like, "Oh, where's the mute button? Shut them up."
That's the point, I think, is that all these things are important and it's so easy for them to fall off the list. So if we do have it, if somebody can't do it, then we need to get somebody to do it. And there's a lot of ability to outsource some of this stuff, which I've discovered in my little, investigations. So I think it's a good idea to get this list because then things actually get done. So I'm very in favor of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a task, and you can prepare your one or two topics and
I-
get.
I'm
I think
happy
Michelle
to
was saying
collate
getting
if you
some
like.
buy-in from the town board, and
I
and
think
we'll
that Dale
support.
Dale has a comment. She says it's not clear how my comment was addressed. Having authority to prevent a pipeline from being built does not prevent a village from being created. And I think Jay talked about that. Maybe Dale wasn't here when we talked about it.
I mean, I mentioned it, but that was one of my questions to Howard about the other village powers that we may try to have, not that reopen the whole discussion, but if I understand Howard's theory correctly, there was a consolidation. As part of that consolidation, the village gave the town certain village powers, and then it poofed out of existence like the genie who grants wishes. So the question is, how many of those other village powers are we able to grab hold of before we dissolve, before the village evaporates?
My theory is whatever powers were in the consolidation plan are the ones we're going to try to hold on to.
Very good.
Okay, then. I'm trying to steer us towards the ever popular adjournment because I think we did cover everything on our agenda in a somewhat different order, but
And
that was
more.
intentional and more. So, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:10 p.m. and I'm going to look to Deirdre for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? What? Can't hear you. All right. You're outvoted anyway. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our people who came out, and thank you, Howard. And we'll
Yep. Take care. Bye, Ella.
see you guys soon. Bye.
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 Bye. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Leaving. I think I'm leaving.